Boom! What's going on, guys? Welcome into your Energy News Beat episode number 155 here on this kind of chilly November 9th, 2020. It is Monday. We are starting your week off right. I am your humble correspondent, Michael Tanner, coming to you from an undisclosed location here in Denver, Colorado, joined as always by the executive producer of the show, the purveyor of the show, and the director of publishing of the world's greatest website, oilandgas360.com, Stuart Turley. How you doing? Do you have a good weekend?
Oh, it did. It's good having the kids around. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, and we're ready to rumble.
We are. We have a pretty wild show for you guys lined up. Bonanza Creek buys HighPoint, and they subsequently go ahead and file Chapter 11 bankruptcy on those assets. So we'll cover everything there. Lilis Energy gets sold. Talon Petroleum does it. Markets go huge off the coronavirus vaccine. We'll cover all of that. Stu's got stuff in the international news desk. But first, guys, just subscribe to this podcast specifically on YouTube, Oil and Gas 360/Entercom. Do whatever makes the algorithms go nuts. We also have a podcast that you can find, the Oil and Gas Show, iTunes, Spotify, or YouTube. Subscribe. I mean, when you look at the overall indices today, Stu, 2.6 percentage points for SPY, 4.5% for the Dow Jones, all off the back of Pfizer and BioNTech announcing they have a coronavirus vaccine that is potentially 90% effective. They have 25 million uses they can use right now, and the plan is by the end of 2021 to have over 100 million rapid tests and rapid vaccines to be able to give. Looks like you get it in 2-3 week increments. Are you lining up to get this, Stu?
No way.
No way. You mentioned on the podcast this morning, some of the conspiracy theories about growing a third arm. I don't care. I'm down. Give me something at this point. It might spice my life up a little bit. But I mean, that really caused stocks to go crazy. What's hilarious is stocks that move that get people out, specifically Carnival, Walt Disney World. They were up big today as those hopes that now people take the vaccine, able to go back in. Zoom down big. They're down 15 percentage points. Amazon down big. No one's going to be able to online shop maneuver. We might actually have to go back to work. No, I did see a funny meme of everyone memes of people getting dragged to work saying everyone in 2 months when you have to show up back to the office. So there's some good stuff. Highly recommend checking out some of the stuff. Oil and Gas 360. Follow us on Twitter. It's just a lot of different stuff going on when you look at these equities markets. I mean, things, obviously the vaccine wasn't priced in yet before. I would have guessed that. Nasdaq actually finished flat today, so it's kind of funny. All our tech stocks that boomed while everyone was locked at home, well, now they're down. So kind of a reversal right there. We move over to the crude oil side. This is the indice and the commodity that gets helped the most, up 8 percentage points. Crude oil, Suey starting with a 40.18. Great number to see. Again, really just off the back of the fact that people hopefully are going to start increasing demand as we begin to move around with that vaccine back into the curve, even at about 5.5 percentage points, 42.67. Natural gas didn't like the news. It's down a percent, down to $2.85. But that's more off the fact that it really looks like November is probably going to be the warmest month, at least the warmest November we've had in quite some time, probably the 5th warmest on record as we dive into some of the stuff here. So that's really what's hogging down natural gas prices at $2.99 for the back end of the curve. Get ready for this number, Stu. XOP up 17 percentage points. Pop them bottles. Someone's making money today. OIA equity holders having a decent day. I mean, they've lost a lot of value over the years, but hey, they got to have one day at least. OIH, which are oil field securities, 122.05. That's up 21 percentage points. Woo, 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 woo. Big day on the equities. We do have some losers, though. There are some downsides. EQT, after their acquisition of Chevron's assets, they're down 4 percentage points. Haldor Energy Corp, they're down 6 percentage points. HighPoint Resources down 30 percentage points after the acquisition and subsequent Chapter 11 bankruptcy. So little number baked in there. We'll cover all of that here in a little bit. Stu, big numbers on the upside. I joked around a couple months ago when we had these big swings of oil. This is the group that I'm about to read off is the almost bankrupt, but now we're good at $40 oil list. So, let's just read this list off. Penn Virginia Corp up 35 percentage points. Oh, great. We can make money at $40 now. Talon Petroleum, they're up 38 percentage points. Yeah, we covered their RBL situation. Not good, but they're up 38 percentage points. Laredo, they're up big. Matador up big. They're up 30 percentage points. So, if we're being completely honest, and that's what we do on this show, this is a list of companies that at $30 oil was on the verge of things going absolutely south. Now at $40, there's some life in them. What are
They're
they?
only
Cats got 9
mostly
lives.
dead.
Oil companies, they've got 9 lives, and they're going to battle till the end here. So
They're only
that's good.
mostly dead, Michael.
What's up?
Mostly dead.
Yeah, they're only mostly dead. But before we dive into the international news desk, guys, I need to tell you about this show, which is powered by Data Gumbo. They are award-winning technology, and they have customers all around the world who build and manage their own smart contracts. Data Gumbo's smart contracts offer a new approach to commercial relationships, one that reduces friction and delivers streamlined operations, transactional certainty, and cost savings. All of their transactions are via their Gumbo net. Check them all out, www.datagumbo.com, or click the link in the show notes below. We love our friends at Data Gumbo. Stu, what's on the international news desk for the day? You've got a little celebration to have, I think.
Oh, you bet, Michael. We talked about it on our podcast this morning, but I've been talking about Turkey, Libya, and the problems that they've had. Libya has been having money, cash flow issues. Here it is. We have it in writing. I have to tell my wife I've been right twice in my life. All right. I said
If you're listening, he was right.
Yeah, I was right. Hey, all the other pundits were saying that Libya was not going to cross that $1 million barrel per day until 2021. I said it was going to happen before the end of the year. They just crossed the $1 million barrel per day production. They're going to 1.3 real quick. And it's because
to the moon, just like these stocks, to the moon.
To the moon. And here's part of the problem is our poor boys over at OPEC Plus and OPEC, as you can see here. We believe in news and facts. There's a couple nuggets in this article. The article was oil jumps on vaccine hopes and OPEC Plus supply signals. In the eyes of traders, a vaccine will help ensure that no future lockdowns are needed and will help people bring back to the streets, allowing air and road to recover, said Rystat's Energy head of oil markets.
Who's that? Is that Bjorg?
It is.
He was an oil and gas conference guy. If you want my opinion off that, off this move today, Stu, I think it's a great opportunity to get in and have a little fun on the short side, because I think the fact that this move hasn't been we knew this news was coming. Every credible oil trader knew this news was coming. We've been testing too many of these out. So I think this move on the upside is overdone a little bit. We're still at all-time global, we're still all-time global oil stocks. Dancing on thin ice here, in my opinion.
All right. Bjorn has part 2.
Ooh, okay. What's part 2?
Part 2 is the Saudi energy minister says OPEC Plus has got some tweakers. Okay, we all know what a tweaker is, right? It's really funny when you get a Saudi prince saying the Saudi minister was commenting after being asked whether OPEC Plus, which groups OPEC states and Russia, would keep existing 7.7 million barrels per day rather than easing them off. Here comes the quote of the day. This is the quote of the week, actually. We did tweak it, and I believe that with consultation from our friends, some of them are present here and some of them are not. But I know wholeheartedly they are committed to the principle of tweaking. The principle of tweaking. That's a good one. So anyway,
it's the title of today's show, The Principle of Tweaking. But also, the fundamentals have completely flipped. Yes, if this vaccine if this vaccine becomes widely administered, people are going to start moving out and about. But we're also seeing Libya now, 1 million barrels already. They're going to 1.2. All of this other stuff, it just confounds me, Stu. Reading the market right now, if you're trying to day trade crude oil, good luck to you, man. Here, you get my congratulations, because I want no business in doing that right now. Let's move over to the oil and gas U.S. patch right now. Biggest news of the day: Bonanza Creek buying HighPoint Energy for $376 million, and subsequently taking that entity into Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The transaction value is based upon all the HighPoint new equity that's going to be administered, about 9.8 million shares of common stock and up to 100 million in unsecured senior notes. This is again after the chapter 11, Bonanza Creek is an interesting company. They're based out of the DJ. They're kind of in no man's land with their acreage, but they have zero debt. And so kind of the word me and Stu are hearing is, while this acquisition may give them some debt, it allows them to have a little more attractive acreage, at least we think. The one thing we know for sure is both of their websites absolutely stellar. So if that's the one thing we know that's going to happen after this merger, is that these websites are going to be the new website. Oh, gorgeous. Reach out to us if you need to know who did that. We'll get you in contact with those people. Also give you an idea. This goes from pro forma for the fourth quarter for both of these companies, 206,000 net acres, 50,000 BOE per day, 53% oil, free cash flow to about 130 million. We'll put that in quotes because we're reading a press release. Expected about 131 million in synergies on a pro forma basis and about 150 million in PV10 synergies total, which represent nearly 45% of Bonanza Creek's market capitalization. Eek. Maintains a strong balance sheet, leverage ratio less than 0.7%, low cost operations. We'll see. I like this deal, specifically for Bonanza Creek. I think, as I mentioned, they were in no man's land with their acreage. At least they get something out of this deal. We'll see how much debt they have to bring on. I think it's about 100 million, but we'll see after this all shakes out. Stu, do you like this deal? I know you love both these management teams.
I really do. I think it's a good deal. I just think the redundancy and the employee loss will be the only sad part.
Yeah, exactly. But
taking care of the stakeholders, which is their primary job, is a good thing.
That's what their job is. Unfortunately, yes, this synergies. That's a funny way to say two people don't need to do one job. We move over into Lilis Energy, guys. Remember about 2-3 months ago, these guys declared Chapter 11 363, or 361, excuse me. I heard it's 363. I don't know the actual code, but basically it's a complete liquidation. They're actually shutting down operations. I don't know if you pronounced this right. This seems like a non-American company who threw Texas on the end to make them sound American. Aberdav Texas LLC was named the winning bidder to acquire substantially all of the company's assets, $46.4 million in cash at payment of closing. It's not a bad deal, actually. It's not a bad life for that. So, if you remember, for all the Chapter 11 stuff, you can check out via their website. These assets aren't great. It'd be interesting to see what this company does. I'll have to dive in a little more. That just hit the news desk this morning. So Lilis Energy off the table. If you wondered, Callon Petroleum was the biggest mover on the upside. One, because they were probably the most susceptible to lower oil prices. We ran a long-form podcast about a month ago where we dove into some of the RBL predeterminations, some of the companies who were on the fritz. Callon came up as one of them. They very much are helped now by $40 oil. Also, they are now exchanging $380 million of their principal existing senior unsecured notes for $217 million in principal of new second lien notes due in 2025. So they're taking lower grade notes, reducing the amount, but increasing both the interest, and now they're due in 2025, and their second lien, which means they are front in line whenever the eventual Chapter 11 does coming their way. We just call it like it is here, unfortunately. So, Street, I think they like that. I do think the reaction to the price is much more to do with at $40 oils, they might be able to stave off bankruptcy. And that's how a lot of these companies are. And I know that's sad to say, but it's just the truth, unfortunately. It's why you're seeing, when you look at the list of companies on the upside, it's not hard to tell why they're all up. $35 oil doesn't make sense. $40 oil does make sense for them. So, as we move forward with the way these equities markets move, watch for that. These equities prices are going to be, can this company make money at this price? Above $40, I think there's some disparity on which companies can move quicker as oil moves up. But on the downside, a lot of it is, all right, at this price level, are you actually making money to stay alive? So, Stu, are we missing anything today?
I don't think so, except my new terminology, tweaking. That's a new safety term in the oil field.
And If you need some politics talk, we did it on the podcast this morning. I don't really want to do it on this show. We kind of walked through, betting markets are closed now. You can't vote for President Trump winning this election, so I'm considering the election over. What does President Biden's administration look like for the next 4 years? One, I think bullish for oil prices. I think I think if you just look at the way cycles have gone under different Republican versus Democratic presidents, I do think in 4 years we'll probably see oil prices higher than this. Will that have anything to do with what Joe Biden does as president? Absolutely not. I think there's going to be a shift to renewables in terms of ESG. I think we're going to see, specifically, I think in the power sector, we're going to see a lot of movement of, I think natural gas in the power sector will see a lot of this stuff. Carbon capture will begin to get huge. But I also think the regulations and just being able to operate, federal permitting, and obviously fracking on federal lands is going to be a big one. Obviously Texas, who's only has 0.3% of federal land, they're not really affected by this. Really, what could happen is states like New Mexico, Wyoming, and Utah, pretty much all of their oil production happens to fall on federal land. So that could be the one thing. I know Alaska's worried about that, but a couple months ago, we had ConocoPhillips came out and said they weren't even worried about their Alaska assets falling under this. So it'd be very interesting to see how this rolls out. I think there's a lot of policy things to fall out with, but if you really want to dive into more of those politics, check out our podcast, The Oil and Gas Show, available on iTunes, Spotify, or YouTube. You can also check it out at the world's greatest website, oilandgas360.com. And with that, guys, I'm going to let you get out of here, get back to work. For Stuart Turley, I'm Michael Tanner. Thank you for checking out the Energy News Beat. We will see you guys tomorrow for another episode.